All right, so we're going old school style nowadays. No more sound tests because we're just done with them. They're not working. We're gonna get her over here shortly. We're just gonna roll with it. So sit down, buckle up. It's talking scared time. A little different format than what we usually have with the haunt actors and the haunt actresses. Today we are going to be talking to a lady named Melody. Who is Melody? She's a psychic, and we've been working with her a little bit on some of our paranormal investigations as far as using her as a consultant. She is the only consultant that we use or talk to in any way, shape, or form. The only psychic that we've been in contact with at all. There was one other psychic who tried to contact us.
Oh my God.
But wow, was he really, really, really weird. And I think that he was just trying to get Trish to maybe move in with him more than anything else. He kept talking about our relationship was on the rocks. And what was it? We had evil spirits around the relationship, right? Or something like that. And so, obvious.
He said those problems with our relationship,
yeah,
right? And I said, no.
Nope. Swing and a miss, my friend. Swing and a miss. So, anyways, while we're working on getting Melody over here, we are going to go over a few announcements that we have going on. Number one, 4,200 plus likes, 4,200 plus follows. Thank you all so much. She just popped up on the screen over here if you want to come over here and do your thing. I would do it, but I'll break it. So I'm not going to touch it. That way I can't get blamed for nothing. So again, 4,200 plus likes. Thank you all so much. We say tell you enough how much we appreciate the support that you all show for us and the support that you show for the things that we do here. And again, we thank you so much for it. Now, we can announce for sure because we have passed all of the tests. Melody, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. This is that's something else we wanted to talk about before we even get into this. This is Melody and I's first actual interaction with each other face to face, or anything like that. Trish has talked to her a little bit, but it's always been Trish that's been the one that was communicating because we wanted to make this as open and honest for you viewers as we possibly can. So this is our first time. Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to finally get to see you.
Yes.
So like we were saying here, we're going to get into the interview in just a real quick second. We will be going to miasma for sure in June. We passed all the tests, all the little examinations, and everything like that. So we are good to go on that. That is our thank you for your support. I'm going to go put myself through absolute misery for you all. And Trish has stepped up to the plate as well. And for whatever reason, purchased a ticket. And she's going to go through as well. She's actually going to go through first. So excited to do that and excited to bring you a review. We are going to be talking with the owner and creator of Miasma. We're not sure how much we're going to be able to talk to him, but we will definitely be talking to him the night of the event. July, we will be going to Stag, as we've already talked about many times before. That's still happening in July. Coming right around the corner, Ohio Halloween and Hunters Convention, May 17th to the 19th. Again, we'll be up there May 17th and 18th. You're welcome to go up on the 19th as well. I'd love to see some of you all come out, spend some time with us. There's going to be a couple different people that have been on Talking Scared that will be up there, so it'll give you the opportunity to meet some of the people that you've seen on these episodes, and also get to experience 3 quality haunts. I'm assuming quality haunts. I haven't been there yet, so we'll see. They might end up on the Scare View list, but hopefully not. Just 2?
One of them was unable to get things together. They won't be opening until the haunt season due to the rain.
Okay. All right. So, newsflash. Only 2 actual haunts will be going to this particular time. I guess they had some misfortune with the rain, like Trish was just saying. So, regretfully, there will only be 2. But it's still going to be 2 haunt seasons that you get to go experience in the middle of May. And that's awesome in and of itself. And the very last announcement before we get into everything with Melody, the last episode of Talking Scared will be on August 26th. We have, 3 spots remaining?
2.
2 spots remaining. 2 spots remaining that haven't been filled. So if you're still wanting to get on, you still want to get on the Talking Scared, don't snag one of those 2 spots. We ain't going to be talking to you until January. So again, we thank you all so much for the support you've shown this little particular thing that we've put together. And we thank you all so much for it. But again, August 26th, we got to shut her down for a few months so we can get into the haunt season full tilt. Now, all that's out of the way. Again, welcome, Melody. It's so exciting for me to have the opportunity to talk to you.
Yes.
She is our one and only exclusive psychic consultant that we use. We don't talk to anyone else. Her and I, her and Trish, excuse me, kind of found each other through me a little bit. It was kind of weird, but we'll talk about that a little bit. Um, she's worked with us on a couple different things that we've done, and will continue to work with us in the future. We're even planning on going out with her and her husband and doing a live paranormal reading out and about somewhere. We don't have any more details on that right now, but that is in the works, and
Yeah.
that will happen. Let's start off with just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been in the business of reading tarot and having interaction with spirits since I was about 11 years old. So that's 47 years worth of experience, as you would say.
Expertise, perhaps.
Excuse me?
Perhaps a little bit of expertise. 47 years of
Yes.
expertise.
Yeah, expertise, I would say. And I have my children are also able to do the same thing I do.
Wow.
Yeah, it seems to have passed on through the family. Um, uh, I I wasn't able in the beginning to actually be open with my gifts when I was younger. It was really taboo back then.
Yeah.
So now that everyone seems to be awakening, it's so much easier to just be out front and just do what I normally do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Um, so you talk about your children having it. Do you know if your mother or grandmother or anybody before you had this gift as well?
My grandfather, Mills, did. He had the ability to drain batteries without any, just by being in contact with them. And he had a clock in his home that the only time it would actually run is when somebody would pass away. So there was talk within the home of supernatural and the paranormal. And so it wasn't foreign to me, but it was on another side of my family, that was not something we really talked about.
Okay.
One side it was like, "Oh, don't do that. That's bad."
It's silly. So you said that you first kind of found out about your talents around the age of 11. What
11.
was it? What was that like when you first kind of discovered that you had these abilities? I'm sure very overwhelming.
At first, it was so scary. I had never thought, that what I would experience would actually happen. Um, it came across when I put out some cards. I An aunt of mine brought a deck to the house, and I laid them out, and it was almost instinctive. And I laid it out, and I noticed. I'm like, oh my God! I mean, these cards are telling me, and it was like that. And I foretold my mom's death, that she would die early. And that was at 11, and she passed away literally when I was 17 years old. So it wasn't long after.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's incredible.
that is. And it's kind of scary to think that I knew this way ahead of time.
Yeah, especially it's a lot to process at such a young age as well. Um,
I was very grown up for 11, unfortunately.
okay. Um, so I want to take a minute and talk about your storefront a little bit and some of the different things that you have to offer there. Trish and
Yeah.
myself have gotten some protective stones and some
Mm-hmm.
white sage. I haven't done what you suggested yet, but that is something that we are looking at doing soon. And we also want to thank you for the special gifts that you sent us as well.
Oh, you're
Very
welcome.
much. But tell us about some of the other offerings that you have on your storefront and some of the readings that you offer on your storefront as well.
Yes, I do psychic readings. I connect with loved ones that are are on the other side. I also do a full tarot reading, and if spirit happens to come in, that's free of charge because they've obviously got something to say. I do mini readings, which are 4 cards, and I do 3-card readings. I do a card pull, pendulum. I also do oracle card readings, and I pretty much work as a intuitive guidance counselor, if you want to say, because I help people move into the direction that maybe their life path should be going.
Okay. Very cool.
And yeah, it is. It's very interesting.
I'm sure. So I'm gonna open myself up a little bit more than what I have before with anything haunted honeymooners wise. So a little story as to how Melody became a part of our life. Trish posted a photo of me. It was on a psychic page, correct? So she just posted a photo of me on the psychic page and asks if anybody got any type of particular feeling off of it. And Melody responds and says that she does. And what was uncanny about it is number one, I didn't realize that Trish had done this to begin with. Um, so I was a little surprised with it, and then I was floored when she told me what you had to say. I've always had moments. I did some stuff when I was younger that I probably shouldn't have, dabbled with some things that I didn't understand what I was
Mm.
getting into. And since then, I've had times where I've seen things, felt things, and always felt one particular energy that's been connected to me for as long as I can really remember. And she called it out on point. Just really hit it on the head. And it was a little shocking, to be honest with you. It really caught me off guard. I've never talked to anybody other than Trish about it in an open and honest format. And this is the most I've actually talked about it, period, on the public platform at all, or anything like that. You may have other questions when it's all said and done. But anyway, now that we're sitting here talking together, do you still get that vibe and still kind of feel that attachment?
I do.
That type of,
I
okay.
do. The female, I believe, is somebody that was an ancestor to you in the past. And a lot of time, I have one too, and I call her grandmother because I have no real name for her other than grandmother that she has given me. So I feel as though it's an ancestor that protects you. She's a female, she's there, but you also have that second one that is a little darker, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's menacing. I just think it's there, but I don't feel as though it's really menacing. It's troublesome, but it's not menacing. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. So,
But you have two that are with you constantly.
yeah. And the male likes to show off a lot more. The female, that was really caught me off guard. I've never really, and again, I'm just now getting to a point where I'm trying to be more open to
Hmm.
interpretation and stuff like this, and not just trying to. I've always just tried to dismiss it whenever I've had these moments and these feelings of just, you're being nuts, stop it. And
Hmm.
now that I've gotten more involved with this stuff, and kind of opened myself up to it. I've never really felt her necessarily. I
Yeah,
don't know if it's just he's such an overbearing presence that
he is. He is
um
he is far more active than she is. She's like the I don't want to what is the word? She's like the little voice like Jiminy Cricket, who's so on your shoulder. She's more like that for you, where she helps guide you in the right directions. But he's a very dominant individual that that's on your other side. So, because to me, she's white in color and he's dark in color. So it's like, wow, it's different.
Okay. It's
You have an angel and devil.
Yeah, almost.
um, I was talking to Trish about it a little bit because she's never really felt anything like that too much until we got together. And then we
Hmm.
like kind of watched him at times. It's almost like he's showing off.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because that's what the boys do.
Yeah. Well, we completely possibly was making noise last night, but especially whenever we go to some of these, and I've never been to some of those abandoned places and stuff like that. But when we've gone there, it's a weird feeling. I can almost feel kind of the up and downs go with me, and I can almost begin to, if I'm open to it, feel him get worked up and almost ticked off at times.
Yeah.
We experienced that at the Catholic boys' school. It was almost a rage at one point.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was weird. We were talking about it a lot. You could feel him leave, almost like he was having a confrontation with something else, and then coming back ticked off. It
Hmm.
was odd. Do you have any more insight at all into him at all? I mean, do you think maybe it's a family link, or just not able to tell right now?
I can't really tell, but he is someone that is like the warning signal. He's like the one like maybe you shouldn't go into that space. So I would listen to him when there's that feeling that maybe you shouldn't be in that presence of whatever the entity is in that environment. So that would be my advice to you because his reactions are, he can get very angry from what I can feel about him. That he probably can actually do things that can move things or change things, or he's stronger than the female.
Yeah, he's we've had some moments. It's weird. You talk about the range of emotions that he seems to have. It's kind of cool. This is really cool to be able to talk about it here for the first time, and really ever. I was talking with Trish about it, but there have been times where things has happened and just doesn't really make a lot of sense. And there's moments where it'll just be dormant for months and months and months, and then we'll have a moment where he just seems to go on. And we have experiences weekly almost, it seems like, and then we won't hear from him for a little while. And then since we've started this, and especially with the paranormal stuff, man, it's really started to amp up a good
Wow.
bit with
I
some.
did the I did
And
the
Trish, we came back from she kept seeing shadow figures in the bedroom, and she's never actually physically kind of caught a glimpse of it at any
Yeah.
point. I've had moments where I've caught glimpses of it, but the same aspect, maybe it's just shadow figures, imagination, stuff like that. But when you think back, it's hard to deny. But it's starting to get a little more, I don't know what to say it, just maybe more brave. I think more brave in his presence, especially around
Yeah.
her.
I think he's more comfortable at being able to show himself, maybe. But,
And
you know,
something
because
else
they
I think
can. They, you know, they will. I have one that walks by me all the time off, but it's always on the sides. It's never like right up front. It's like all of a sudden take a glimpse of something going by, and it's usually them making their presence known. Um, and that's not really surprising at all because they do want to be seen.
very cool. And that's something he does want to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that we both noticed, he seems to be extremely protective of the children.
Yeah.
Just
but he's scared.
he's scared people sometimes, but
Oh.
um, he Yeah, he's very protective of the children. A lot of things seem to focus around the children, never anything menacing, but like the constant playing with the toys and stuff like that, almost as if he's trying to engage with them something. And
Mm-hmm.
it's been cool to watch and see.
Yeah. Yeah.
So moving past some of my personal life a little bit, judging by some of the experiences that we've had at some of these places, some of the things that we've talked about, especially in connection with him, if you were looking at somebody like us, is there anything that you would suggest specifically we do before we continue out on this path?
Well, the first thing I would always do, and you have already started, was to get the stones, the black obsidian, for protection. And before I go and do anything, I usually smudge before going or grounding my body. The best way to ground yourself is to plant your feet in the dirt. Basically, you walk barefoot, and that will ground your body so that other entities cannot attach. And then once you're done doing your investigating, when you come out of it, smudge again, because they can't attach to you at a haunting facility or wherever you are. They cannot attach to you once you've smudged. It's impossible for them. So I suggest that before and after.
Okay. So talking about some of the clients in the past, can you tell us maybe about a particular strong interaction or if you look back over all the years and one that just really sticks out as maybe one of the more wild experiences you've had doing the things that you do?
Well, some of the, oh, I'm thinking, because I've done so many different things. I used to live in Vassaboro, and there's an old mill in Vassaboro, and it's called the Oldie Mill. And I went there and investigated with a group of ghost hunters in Maine. And we actually saw shadow figures and all that. And I was also able to, at one point in my life, be able to dictate the day my mom would pass away. So I've had these kinds of interactions. I also used a Ouija board at one point, and it was me and another person and a bunch of our friends, and we were talking. This is something we used to do together because we didn't do it openly. It was just a few of us. And we did that, and we were talking with the Ouija board, and the centerpiece that you put your fingers on went across the room and hit a door, and it was like, okay, we're done right for this. We started going to cemeteries and interacting there, and I would get feelings about certain headstones, and then I would write it down and do journaling, and then later find out exactly what had happened. And I can do that too with stories like someone's missing or there's a crime happening. I can actually come up. I physically know exactly what kind of person it is, what they're doing, and who's with them. And that is very scary. Especially because I tell people, and then it comes true. So, yeah, it can be very unnerving to some.
Yeah, that's a big burden to have to carry too. I mean, that's rough to carry the load of reports like that and no information like that and how you have to handle dealing with that information. That's it's a gift, but I would assume in some aspect that kind of feels like a curse every once in a while too.
Yeah, sometimes I really wish I didn't have it, like in knowing exactly what day and what hour my mom would die.
Yeah.
That was very unnerving, but I also thought of it as a way of preparing me for what was to come. seeing I was 17. My youngest sister was only 12. And my middle sister was 14. So it was difficult. So I think I was being prepared for that event.
Very cool. So we showed Melody pictures from all the different types of paranormal places that we've went to. She's been able to help guide us along the way a little bit and maybe some questions for us as well. Over some of the photos that we've sent and some of the different things that we've talked about, is there one particular photo or one particular area that we shared with you that caused you to be the most excited or feel the most present in that particular spot?
Well, I believe it was the sanitarium. That one photograph of the laundry room, for some reason, it was like, wow, that's an overpowering place.
Yeah.
But
Heavy.
I didn't
And
hear.
that room, it was incredible. The heaviness that was in that room.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the only room that the entire time that I was in there, there was a little bit of a creepy feeling, but it was the only room that I could genuinely feel like, oh, we've overstayed our welcome here. It's
Yes.
time to walk out of here.
Because when I saw the photograph, it was like I could actually see where people were standing when I saw the photograph. And I'm like, okay, because the only other place I ever did that was at the mill that I was telling you about, where I can actually see them and where they're standing. And I can understand that place, I could get all the energy that was there. It really wasn't a nice place for anyone to have to be.
No, I
So,
don't believe so. And I'll tell you something else that happened there, and it was one of the weirdest things that I've ever experienced. We walked into one of the rooms, and we were just kind of looking around, and we kind of scouted the area and stuff beforehand, and we're checking to, see if there's anybody else around, stuff like that. Inside the comics complex, there's no telling who is or isn't in it. And as far as we could tell, there wasn't anybody else out there that day, other than a lady who was walking a dog around. And yeah, that was weird too. But anyway, when we were in that room, we could hear music playing above our heads.
ooh,
And I thought at first, I was like, oh, okay, there's teenagers or something upstairs. And then we got quiet, we listened to it, and it was some very old music. It wasn't something that I could imagine any teenagers really being into and wanting to listen to. But, maybe. And then it sounded like it was playing on an old school recording device, like kind of that static echo in the back of it. And it's very light. It was one of those things that almost as soon as you focus on it, it's gone. But man, it still sticks with me.
mm,
And then I think the craziest part about that whole experience, Trish got nervous a little bit towards the end, and she kind of wanted to hustle out of it. And so we did. We exited out of there, and we were filming the video while we were doing it. And her phone was at 70% when we started. And by the time that we filmed the outside on the exit, the battery was completely drained. We thought, that's no, maybe the phone just had a glitch. And so we switched over to mine, and mine was at 40 or 50%. And the same thing happened on most of the media.
yeah.
It went down to zero. Is that common to see the battery draining and things like that? Is that a very common way to interact?
They can take the energy from you, or they'll take it from any device that has energy. During one of the the haunted, I guess, we walked through the mill, and we all had devices in our hands, and one of them died rather quickly after somebody entered a room, and for whatever reason, it lost its battery charge. A second person had done the same thing. So it is very common for them to draw that energy, and they draw the energy to manifest. So this is what they do in order to be able to produce something that can be heard or seen or some sort of audio that you can pick up with. But that's what they do. They drain that energy.
That's that's something else. Yeah. That was King Park was definitely the craziest one. Yeah. The Catholic Boys School had some moments for sure, but nothing like that place was. I think you're right. I mean, that was not a good spot to fall into as a person. You're not going to have a good day
Mm-hmm.
for the most part there. And as far as we were so excited you were going with it, you and your husband to be able to experience all that together.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the pictures and being able to see the people and everything like that, do you feel, and you had talked to Trish about this a little bit, but just kind of want to talk about it for a second. Do you feel like you're attracted to people like Trish and I a little bit more than maybe the average person? Or is that just in the head?
Do I speak to?
Or do you feel that spirits are more attracted and would be more inclined to come around somebody like Trish and I
Yes.
versus okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Speaking of the people in that image that we sent you, as I was recording it, I could see my camera trying to focus in on them as they walk behind us.
I couldn't understand her.
she said there were times when she was recording in that room that her camera would pick up on autofocus and try to focus in on something
Mm-hmm.
behind me, walking around, and kind of trying to follow different images. And I couldn't see it when she was recording, obviously, but before she showed it to me, it was weird. You would see it focus, it was spot right over here, and try to back out and try to make it.
Yeah, that's usually spirit going in front of the camera when it does that refocus. Usually that the entity is somewhere in between a fixed object and it's trying to track, and that's common. That's happened to a lot of people, especially if you use your phone. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have you had any personal negative experiences before, or that is the spirit that you were just like, ah, no, I can't, I can't with this one.
Have I experienced a spirit that was? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, there was negative towards you, or negative towards
Never.
perhaps what you were trying to do at one point.
I had one in Germany that, for whatever reason, was attached to my TV.
Okay.
And what he would do is we'd all be in bed, and for some reason he'd turn the TV set on, and he would put it on, and it would be loud. So I would get up, and I thought maybe it was my son. I unplugged it from the wall, and he did it again, still unplugged, but the TV set was on. So I had to forcefully tell the spirit to leave it alone. We went through a period where we lost knives. For whatever reason, the knives were gone. Couldn't find them anywhere. Wasn't my children, because they weren't in the place where my children could get them. So it was like, I'm not sure where this stuff is going. But it was like, and in Germany, there were a lot, if you consider the war and everything, and all these places, I experienced so much there. I had dreams of the internment camps, and it was just an overwhelming place for me. I actually stood in the Colosseum where Hitler stood, and I could actually hear the chanting that they would chant to him. And I'm not the only one. My best friend's husband, who happened to work in the area, actually followed an entity that suddenly disappeared. And it's like everyone experiences something when they're in Germany.
Hmm. There's probably a lot to experience in Germany, man. That's a country that's definitely not always good. some history for sure.
Oh, yes. I think I was bombarded daily there.
Yeah, and that's actually been fun to be bombarded with a lot of the stuff that's happened in Germany all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you also offer some teachings of the craft available for any and all who would like to learn. Can you tell us a little bit about this as well?
Well, I teach how I try to help people learn how to be happy and to use the law of attraction to do it. So I start with happiness and doing small little things that you learn to be able to center yourself and know yourself. Everyone has two sides. We've got the light side of us, and we've got the shadow side of us. And it's not that the shadow is bad or the light is bad or good. It's That's who we are, and if we can integrate that and find the balance between the two, we can actually move forward. I practice as a Wiccan, so I have Sabbats that I do. We just had Beltane, and it's I teach people how to use the stones and the oils and the candle magic, and I also sell spells. I spell love attraction or self-love. You have to love yourself to be loved by others. So I've got a spell for that, and I've got a protection spell and a money spell, because everyone is like, oh, money spell. So I do that. But I also work with the body by doing chakra healing. So I've got a chakra kit to help keep the body in line with itself. And those are the things that I like to sell in my shop, the things that can actually help the human body, help the mind as well, and especially the spirit.
Very cool. Very cool. So we are regretfully coming towards the end of our time, but Trish did get me to pop in once the first question there at the end. She wants to know if you have any suggestions for her as far as maybe her improving her senses and things that she could maybe do to allow herself to be more aware.
Okay. First of all, pay attention to the small things. A lot of times you will find that coincidences seem to occur, or when the phone rings, try to figure out who it is before you answer, before you actually look at the caller ID. That helps to develop the extrasensory perception. I also used to do just cards, pick a card, throw a dice, whatever it is, and try to calculate what it's going to be. Pennies are great, heads up, heads down, whatever. As long as you keep that going, and then watch for the small things, watch for the corner of the eye. Because a lot of times spirit won't go in front of you, won't come in front, so they'll go to the side. So sometimes you'll see it in your peripheral vision. So if you pay attention to those little things and become more aware of the surroundings, you'll be able to see that more frequently. I do journaling, dream journals. I also have little tiny exercises where I get used to the ground, because some reason when you are grounded and more focused internally, you get to notice the changes that happen to the body, which gives you the idea that maybe I need to pay attention. Sometimes butterflies in the stomach, those kinds of things that make you go, okay, hair on your arms start sticking up. Pay attention, because those are little signs and cold spots and all these things. If you become more aware, then you're going to be able to see it better. Do you see what I mean? And we get more in tuned. Meditation's actually very good to help get the mind set for doing your investigations.
Very cool. And I wanted to give everybody, as we kind of wrap things in here, my personal view as far as Melody as a psychic. Everybody knows here that I've always been a little bit more of a skeptic on things, and the more I get involved, the less skepticism remains. But I wanted to share a particular experience that we had that she called out going on, and what makes me believe wholeheartedly that Melody is the true deal, and 100% who she says she is. Again, there's a reason that we use her and only her. So a little preview of some of the stuff we're going to be talking about in that normal episode that we're putting together. We went to a Catholic boys' school, and while we were there, we walked into a particular area where things started to become a little uneasy. Our particular friend that we've talked about became very irritated, and we started to walk away from that area. And as we were walking away, I looked at Trish and I said, it really feels like we're being watched and not by him. This doesn't feel like it has anything to do with him being the one that's watching. And it felt different. It felt a little more ominous, a little more menacing. And we just kind of kept walking, and eventually kind of went away. So as we were talking to Melody about a couple of different things, she called out before we could do anything at all. She said, there's something there watching you the entire time that you live in that property. And that's incredible, because again, it's something that we had not spoken to her about. We really honestly, we just show her picture and let her kind of give us the feedback on what she feels about the area. And so far we haven't been disappointed in the least. So I absolutely would put our stamp of approval on Melody, 100%. As always, as we always do with our Talking Scared guests, like to open up the floor to you to let you end it out, talk about your storefront, what your web address is, anything like that. Way for people to get in contact with you. Melody, the floor is 100% yours.
Thank you so much. I am the owner of WindDancersTreasures.com. You are more than welcome to go and visit my little shop. I have a blog that I do, and sometimes I bring in astrology. And what happened?
I don't know. That's the verse. That's probably Lilith getting involved there.
Yeah, well, this is different. I can't make it work again. It doesn't want to work again. All right.
You
well,
can still hear you.
That's great. You can visit my shop. I have my stones. I have the spell kits, and I have sage and my Palo Santos. I also have jewelry for anyone who is interested. I am located in Maine. My next gig that I'm doing is going to be Piero Fest 2019 in Maine, in Vassaboro, in that mill that I talked about. I'll be doing readings, and people can be able to purchase some of my store's products. So, yeah.
Very cool. We will post links to the website as well as putting some different points up. I saw some of the different things that you talked about as well. She is completely destroyed. So we're going to wrap it up because I think Lilith. So, Melody, I hope you can still hear us.
I can hear you.
And obviously, we will very much be in contact. As always, and hope to have you back on Talking Scared sometime next year, talking about hopefully some of the things we've been able to do. But until then, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Talking Scared. We're going to go figure out what's made Lilith so angry and see if we can appease her for a little while. Until then, we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.